Afternoon, you're with Fulhamish. This is the full-time review at the Old Suffolk Punch after a comfortable 2-0 victory against Blackburn. I see Dom's face there.
It's nice to see something comfortable for once.
Yeah, exactly. Drastic improvement in my opinion from the Barnsley game. We saw a few changes after the transfer window. Harry Arter coming in centre midfield, but let's go straight into the game. What do we think of the performance, Dom?
Well, from what I obviously watched, because you know me, I only watch about 60-70 minutes of home games. But no, I thought we looked good. We looked a lot better than we did last week. Last week it was so static in midfield. Everyone looked so rigid in their positions, and yes, there probably wasn't too much tactical sense in the way we did play in that second half, especially. But we looked a lot more. There was a lot more fluidity in the midfield that was there with the likes of Harry Arter. I thought last week with Johansson and McDonald, they were sort of both so sort of rigid in where they were, and they're sort of pretty much sitting in the same position and trying to get the ball forward to Kenny to hopefully do something. So for me, I thought, yeah, today a lot better, but obviously there's still definitely improvements to be made. But it's nice to get that first 3 points under the belt.
What do you think, Adam?
Well, it was a very similar kind of, it was a game of two halves really, because the first half we started with, we were trying to play one-touch passing football, but no one was moving, so it wasn't the passing move football that we wanted. And Johansson, where he was rigid last week, this week he kind of went missing in the first half. He was running away from the ball, and it left Harry Arter a bit on his own in the first half. Second half, much improved in the fact that there was a lot more movement. It did help when we brought on a plethora of attackers, really. We went from being 3 up front to 4 up front, and then we just went, pretty much everybody who could play up front was there, which gave Blackburn absolutely nobody to mark, because they couldn't decide who they were going to focus on. Mitrovic popping up on the left wing, and it really did cause them some problems in the second half.
It's the perfect word to describe that, those attacking substitutions, a plethora. Like the Blackburn midfield defence didn't know what to do, but the main change I would say was obviously McDonald with Harry Arter. What do we think of Harry Arter on his debut performance for the Whites?
I thought he was probably our best midfielder today.
Yeah,
I was expecting him to actually come in for Johansson as opposed to Ken McDonald, because I think Ken McDonald still gives you that 6. He's going to lie there, and we didn't really sweep up last week because he looked dead after about 5 minutes. But I think that in the future I'd rather see him midfield through McDonald, Arter and Kearney as opposed to Arter, Johansson and Kearney. I don't see what Johansson offers alongside Arter. I feel like Arter just does Johansson's job a lot better, if anything. But no, I was really impressed by Harry Arter today. And I wasn't know what to expect, because obviously you compare him to his time at Cardiff and been playing a really anti-football side under Neil Warnock, but if you compare him to his time at Bournemouth, you sort of know what he can do. So for me, Harry Arter definitely should be one of our starting midfielders this season. Very impressive him, and yeah, I think today there's definitely things to build on after today's performance, but obviously it still wasn't perfect.
It was a solid performance overall. Maybe a little bit nervous for the first 25 minutes. I remember he got dispossessed just outside the Putney end on about 25 and caused some trouble for our defence. But I think we're overall pleased with his performance, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say I was, and I think I noticed him in the game a lot more than I did Tom Kearney, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
I think as well, where it allowed Tom Kearney to start, as he started to get more confident with Arter playing behind him, Kearney allowed to move forward, and he was always looking forward with his passes. The first half, everyone was looking back and they're thinking, let's get it back to the defence. There were some nervy moments playing it in and out of defence, but the second half we were always looking forward with the ball, probably because that's where all our players were.
Precisely. So we had some changes in the midfield, but also moving forwards. Tony Knockers replacing Abubakar Kamara.
Man like Tony Knockers.
So what do we think for Tony Knockers' first full start?
I feel like the problem with Knocker, it's not a problem with him, it's actually the way we play around it, is they sort of give him the ball and expect him to create something, which is it's not on him because he's a brilliant player, especially at this level, and I thought that's just one problem. I thought it's not his fault he's so good at football, but I feel like sometimes they give him the ball and expect him to create something out of nothing to then allow the players onto the game. But I think Anthony Knocker, I don't understand why he wasn't playing last week. When he came on against Barnsley, he was probably our best player. It's not like he wasn't match fit last week. I just don't understand why we didn't play him from the start. But yeah, Anthony Knocker, or man like Tony Knockers, I think he's going to be one of the most important players this year.
Oh,
every time Kearney passed him the ball, Kearney just dropped off and left him to it. He said, "Oh, fine, go and beat their left back."
Yeah,
which is fine in some instances, but he needs some support up there, and that's where I think Dennis Adoy maybe lacked in terms of getting forward to help Knockhart. When he did start to do that one, it gave it an extra dimension to play down the wing.
I guess links back to the transfer window where we obviously could have done with signing a solid right back.
Yeah, it would have been nice. It would have been good to sign a right back, and a defender in general wouldn't have been too bad with it. But I thought, on that defensive point, I thought Tim Ream was actually quite good.
It was
today. It was nice to have him back.
Exactly.
With his big beard.
Yeah, it's grown somewhat since the last time we saw him as well. It's substantially sort of like grown in.
I think he's genuinely trying to scare Championship defenders, and he almost managed that one until we realised that their number 9 was massive today.
Gallagher, yeah.
He was massive, and I think Ream dealt well with him, and I think he dealt better in the game than Mawson did overall.
I didn't think much of him though, Gallagher. Did you?
I think the lucky thing for us, they weren't. I think with whoever Blackburn played, they're so heavily reliant on Bradley Dack to sort of create something out of nothing for them. And I'm actually still surprised he's still out there. I thought another top Championship side would have probably picked him up by now. But yeah, I thought Sam Gallagher was very quiet today. And I think Tim Ream, it's the first time he's shown back to sort of that form he showed in 17-18. Because when we got that injury towards the beginning of last season, he didn't look the same player when he came back. He looked like he lost about 2 yards of pace. So. But yeah, no, it was good to see the Tim Ream that we saw in 17-18 back, and yeah, that gives me a bit more confidence with a centre back.
Yeah, no, it was certainly good to see him back, I think. And moving on to Dack, I thought he again looked lively in the first half an hour, but then sort of dropped off the pace a bit, moving into the end of the first half, start of the second half.
I think, to be honest, like he started, he was dropping back to try and get the ball more, and he was having way less of an impact up front in any instance. So I think the way that Dack could have had much more of an impact on the game is if he was running in behind us. They didn't actually try and run in behind us really at all. So, and that's probably where we're weakest. You see Joe Bryant can get players running in behind him. No one tries to do that.
Yeah, precisely. Well, I don't think we can hold off talking about the Tom Kearney goal for much longer. What a finish it was. You missed the goal?
Yeah. Goal number 1 missed of the season.
What percentage of goals do you reckon you miss as
I
a
reckon
Fulham fan?
I reckon I miss more at home than I do away. But I do go down
If you had to put a percentage on the amount of goals that you actually
I reckon
manage
at home, I reckon I miss at least 20% of my goals. I reckon.
1 in 5. 1 in 5 goals you miss.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I would put that in one of the top 5 goals that I've actually seen at Fulham.
Quality finish. Tom Kearney gets his old club as well.
I think one of the things that actually brought that goal on as well is he was finding the space in front of Arter, and then Arter was he was almost drawing the players in. Played in a perfect pass to Kearney, and he ended up in space, which is something we didn't see anywhere near enough of last season. I think he's going to get a lot more space to hit those long shots. The weird thing was in the second half, though, after obviously a hit, great shot with his left foot, he doesn't use his right foot. As soon as the second half comes, he was kind of playing left attacking midfielder, which really doesn't give him the ability because he can't cut in on his right. So he was struggling a little bit with those long shots, but it's such a good goal.
Yeah, it was quality, wasn't it?
I thought initially, I was like, has that got deflection because it's ended up so perfectly in the top right. But nah, it's perfect hit.
Yeah. And also the thing that I enjoy particularly about that goal is that he proper celebrated as well. You think Tom Kearney gets his old club.
We did the same thing against Hull a few years ago. I think it was 15, 16 or 16. Yeah, I think about 15, 16. Yeah, Sonny Luca was still at Hull at the time. I think we lost 2-1. I think it was midweek in August, but he still celebrated against another former team. So he's got no issue with celebrating against former teams, which I'm all for, because I don't see why. He's not from Blackburn. He's not from Hull. So if you're going to score against him, you're going to celebrate. And I think that was important for us to get that goal before half time. Because if it went into half time 0-0, I'm not saying we would have been booed into the tunnel, but I think everyone would have been a lot more worried than they were.
It certainly eased the pressure off somewhat and sort of gave you the sense that we're going to do all right in this game.
I think if we hadn't scored that goal as well, the players would have lost a bit of confidence in the passing football that we were playing. That clearly paid off in the second half, because we were thinking if we continue with the same plan, it will work out eventually. That wasn't what brought us the Kearney goal. That was just pure wonderful. But second half, we persisted with that passing football, and that's where all of our kind of attacks were coming from, rather than there were less long balls in the second half for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. And we saw Calabero make a few chances as well, and Bobby Reid as well when he came on. I thought Bobby Dazzler, he did very well in his.
He did dazzle. I think it was interesting bringing him on for Steph, because that was the substitution I would have liked, but it's also a really gung-ho approach. Like if we do that,
especially when you're 1-0 up already.
Exactly. If you do that against some of the top teams when you're 1-0 up, and we just go, what's the plan? Let's go 5 up front. It's a little bit mental.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
It worked wonders against Blackburn, because they didn't want to attack because they couldn't leave anybody unmarked, because everybody's an attacker now. But we can't do that against top teams.
It goes back to the argument of, can you score your way out of the Championship, much like we did 2 seasons ago.
We just like we're going to try.
Well, if you can, we're a perfect example of how it could possibly be done this season, because I'm quite surprised we get the clean sheet today, if anything. I mean, that's sort of gone unnoticed. I was hoping to go like 46 games, no clean sheets, but still end up winning the league by scoring 200 odd goals. But I think that if you look at our squad, that is kind of the only approach we can take.
Yeah, we can't
It was a bit
try and
like-
keep the
It
ball
was
at
like
the
when
back.
Ranieri came in last season and thought, oh, we'll improve our defence by playing 5 defenders. When in essence that makes the team worse because you're playing worse players on the pitch and leaving your best players out. And I think Parker's like, no, mate, we're going to play 4-1-5 and we're going to get the goals. And we created the chances today. So I think that I'm not saying we can't play that every week. So if we play a team like Cardiff or a team like Leeds, we will get torn to shreds.
Okay.
But I think that against the less teams, it's probably the approach Parker's going to take, and it's nice to see just Fulham going absolutely gung ho. Because sometimes under certain managers, even when we're in the Premier League, we're sort of quite conservative in the way we play football and try to sort of keep the clean sheet and play for the draw. Not saying to say play for the draw, but yeah, I think it's nice and refreshing to see, especially under being a manager like Ranieri last season, that we're just like, well, if we can't defend, we're just going to score more than the opposition.
It was more attacking football than Slav at times, just because there were so many. Even when Slav put players up front, they would all end up dropping back. Whereas today, I think there was one time where on the left wing you had Anthony Knockaert, Bobby Reid, and Caballero all running down the left, and their right back did not want to be there.
Yeah. That's true. It brings us to my next question, fellas. If defence aside, going on the basis of what we saw today after our transfer window, what midfield and up top would you go for the next game?
I think our front three is sorted. I think that should be our front three going forward. I think the midfield, I don't think Johansson should be in there, but then after what I saw from McDonald last week, do I want him in? It's hard to say. And I think Arthur's definitely the person who should be in that 8 role. I don't think that Johansson's better than him in that role, but I also think that McDonald last week looked so tired. If he's back to the fitness he was in 17-18, then yes, I would go McDonald, Arthur and Kearney. Because even in 17-18, I don't think Johansson was that good. I feel like he scored goals, he scored important goals like the one away at Cardiff, let's say, but yeah, I just don't think. I think that if McDonald can get back up to full fitness like he was, I think you've got to go McDonald, Arthur and Kearney.
Also, McDonald had a big summer, then he had his wedding, had his stag do in Vegas, so it's going to take a few weeks.
He's had a big 18 months from being perfect. Like, I just don't think he's recovered from us getting promoted yet.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. That's a good point.
No, he just seems like he's been absolutely battered from it. He's been like a 2-year bender, which is great effort, and I applaud it. But yeah, I think if he can get back to full fitness, then I think you've got to go for him, Archer and Kearney.
Right, so obviously we had the goals from Tom Kearney and Alexander Mitrovic. Who would you say was your man of the match for this game?
Tony Knockers, right? Just whenever he was fed the ball, yes, we were relying on him to create something out of nothing, but I do think he's got the ability to do that. I think Kearney does as well, but I think today it showed that Tony Knockart has got the ability to create something out of nothing, and I think he was on creating chances for us today. I thought Joe Bryan had another good game, but I think Anthony Knockaert just nudged him.
Yeah, Tony Knockers as well. I've noticed that on a few occasions he's got the ability to run full pelt into a defender and yet still have the ball at his feet. It will go bam, and then he'll be like, oh wait, I've still got the ball, and then go out, play it out.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what you need in the squad. Just create something out of nothing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's got to be Tony Knockers. It's a close one thing between him and Harry Arter, but the reason I wouldn't give it Harry Arter is because there were still shaky periods for him, whereas I didn't see anything from Knockaert at any point. So anything. No, I'm not confident in this player today. No, I'm just sad he didn't get his goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, before we sign off, I just wanted to touch upon the business that we did in the transfer window. Josh Onomah, obviously the only permanent transfer that we signed. Admission from the squad. What do you think that says? Do you think he should have been included?
I don't know, because I don't really know where he plays. I don't know where in the midfield his position is. And I think that, yes, I think I've said it multiple times on the podcast that I don't know why we got Josh Onomah, personally, because yes, I understand he's part of the Sessional deal or whatever, and that was probably what was holding it up, but you're paying his wages for the. I don't feel like we wanted Josh Onomah. I feel like Spurs wanted to get rid of him, and he was put into the Sesquian deal. So I'm not too bothered about him not being in the squad. Like, to be honest, I probably didn't notice it until you mentioned it. But being perfectly honest, I'm not that bothered he wasn't in the squad today. He's definitely a player who's going to have a part to play for us. But again, he's not in the squad. He's not in the squad. I mean, I'm not too bothered.
Yeah.
I think I was kind of. I wasn't worried beforehand because I was thinking you don't expect to bed in new signings that quickly. In fact, the fact that so many of them played today was quite surprising. So I expect we'll see them over the next couple of weeks. And I also was thinking, why do we need so many centre midfielders? And then obviously we saw what happened at Barnsley with the missing midfield. And today, I'd still say there was a missing midfield. Like, Stephanie Hansen still did go missing.
It wasn't missing, there wasn't one.
Yeah, but Johansson was still playing as a centre midfielder and went and played up front. Maybe that is actually the tactics. But I think if Onama's in there alongside, that could maybe help the Kevin McDonald conundrum of, do we need McDonald playing in some games as well? Onama could fit in alongside Arthur.
Yeah, another man out of the 8-man attack, I suppose. But anyway, 2-0 victory against Blackburn. Back to winning ways, Fulham. Looking forward to next week.
Yeah, I on Friday night should be a barrel loss.
Should be good.
Not the game, obviously, but after should be fine. No, I mean, it can't be worse than Huddersfield away last year on that Monday night. So that is the worst I've just.
It was the. I remember a football journalist describing that game as a movable force versus a stoppable object. It was literally just the worst teams of the league coming together in a very limp battle.
I feel sorry for any neutral who spent 2 hours of their day watching that show.
I know. I dragged a load of my mates to the pub to watch that game, and they were like, "What have you? This is the Premier League at its worst."
What was it? It was an own goal with Fossey Mensah, wasn't it?
Oh, it was terrible. I don't think Fulham had a shot on target. Huddersfield might have had one shot on target. It was just a scrappy affair. Hopefully, we'll have a more exciting.
It was very bad. This next game cannot be any worse than that.
What are our predictions quickly before we wrap up and for getting against Huddersfield?
We'll get the victory. I didn't think they were that good against Derby last weekend. So for me, I reckon we can scrape a 2-1 win.
Excellent. What do you think, Dave?
I reckon if we just play 5 up front, we'll score.
Why 5? Why stop it there?
I mean, why
6,
stop
7,
there? Play as many as we can up front, score as many goals as we can away from home, get the goal difference up, and see how we get on. Hopefully we don't concede any, but I still think we'll get a win.
Excellent. So I also think we're going to get a win for what it counts. Anyway, precisely. I've been George Cooper, AF, Don Betts. Thanks for watching. See you next week.